Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is SockBot, and it's finally release day. Well, I mean, kind of. It's like release day so far as everybody that had early access can now play Dreams in its entirety, but everybody else has to wait until Friday, which kind of sucks. I mean, as a creator, I was planning everything for Friday as well, so I was planning to make all my videos on Friday and over this weekend, and so this has kind of disrupted my week as well. But I mean, at least partially in a good way. But if you have not gotten access to it because you were not part of early access, I apologize personally. I know that that can be frustrating, as it's something that I dealt with during the beta as I was trying to get a key from a friend. And so I know it's frustrating. I know a lot of people are not going to be very happy about that. But hopefully, come Friday, we can just put that all behind us and focus on the game and how wonderful it is. And so today I really want to talk about my first impressions of Dreams, things that have changed significantly in create mode, because that's something I talk about a lot on this channel and something that I was very worried about, and more specifically, my first impressions of the story so far. Now, I believe I'm about halfway through based upon the timeline that Media Molecule gave us, and I can tell you right off the bat it's fantastic and shockingly impressive, even though we've seen a lot of scenes from it so far in various streams. But yeah, I have been streaming that, so if you are interested in watching that, as opposed to just hearing me talk about it, definitely go check out my stream. There's a VOD for the last one, and I'm hoping to stream later tonight, and a few times this week. But I think that's everything I have to get out of the way before actually talking about the game, even though it's been like a minute now. So if you enjoyed this short video, feel free to leave a like down below. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting all week about Dreams, and normally I post on Thursdays and Saturdays, so don't worry, the spam mode this week will end. I am just very excited, and also I can imagine a lot of other people are very excited, so hopefully you enjoy this week of all the videos. But yeah, let's get right into my first impressions of this this release of the game, because I guess it wouldn't really be first impressions since I did first impressions like that. But let's just get into it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the story mode, and I think that this is going to take up the majority of this video because it's absolutely wonderful, and I am so impressed, even playing through scenes that I knew exist, even playing through scenes that I've seen other people play through, people from Media Molecule play through within their Media Molecule streams, but even seeing that, like, not only is it exciting to finally get to play those scenes, but it actually is blowing me away with what they were able to do with the Dreams engine. Obviously, being that it comes from a very well-developed and Sony-funded game creation studio, well, everything is very unique and very impressive. It's just impressive to see how much they were able to pack into different scenes. And I don't just mean the fact that they're copying their different assets and reusing them, as every good game designer definitely should, but more that the scenes transition so seamlessly, and they're able to put so much platforming and just so much time and gameplay time into one scene, and that has truly impressed me so far. Now, obviously, like I said, the visuals are absolutely stunning. They're even more stunning in person, and being able to walk around the environments, you're able to see how Media Molecule has decided to create their environments in this sort of ethereal way, being that it is a dream. And it's very much playing into the aesthetic that Dreams has at its core, but it's also going outside that to an extent that I didn't expect at all. The story mode so far has been very serious, and there's a lot of hilarious parts too, and there's a lot of really good comic relief, especially with the songs, which probably I would say are my favorite part so far. Although, I don't know, Debug is really cute and those sections are really funny, but it's all really well done. It's just a very serious topic. Obviously, there's no super intense indications that this goes deeper than Art is trying to reunite with his band that he left, but at the same time, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, so I don't want to talk too in depth about everything that's going on. I just want to say that it is quite serious and quite intense. And I haven't really noticed anything negative about the story so far, so that is to say that that intense thing I just mentioned is not a bad thing. It's actually quite surprising in a good way, because it's a very serious story that's being told through these wonderful little characters, but I think there's only one issue I've had so far in terms of the game, and that might be a technical thing, but when you are playing as, oh gosh, I can't even remember their names, but when you're playing as the two characters, the fox and the I think it's a little teddy bear, or she's a little teddy bear. When you're playing as them together, you can switch between them like we knew was going to happen, but it is a little bit awkward to keep both of them alive. I would liken it to playing ice climbers in any sort of Smash Brothers that has had ice climbers in it, but one of them can die while the other one stays alive, and then you have to revive them at the checkpoint, and that totally makes sense. I think it's okay to do that. The issue is the platforming and the way that the second character will follow the character you're controlling at that time is a little bit awkward. And often I find the second character won't make a jump that I made with no issues myself. Now, this isn't something that's happened more than a couple times, so it's not something I see really being an issue if the game does ramp up in difficulty in those sections. And like I said, you can always get the second player back from the save points, or alternatively, you can just play with a second person who can control the second character. And so both of those are possible solutions and just things that make it not that big of a deal, but I definitely wanted to mention it because I literally could not think of anything else negative to say about this, and I feel like I needed something to just hopefully prove that I'm not only a fanboy and that I can be critical, because I most certainly can. But all in all, I am just woefully impressed. And being that this was dropped upon me in the middle of what is normally a work day, I was very stressed to begin with. And so the fact that it still is giving me this much excitement, I think says even more about how great of a story mode it is so far. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the end of the game because I'm not there yet, but I have been told that it is a rather short story mode, which I'm okay with because I think that the assets of the story mode and being able to see what they've done was the intention of it, and they even say that in the intro to our stream. But I think I can see some people out there being a little bit disappointed that Media Molecule didn't create more content around this big story mode that has created the characters that advertise this game for the most part. Though I can see people disappointed about that, I'm not, and I'm just being honest there. It doesn't bother me. I'm more than happy that it's an hour and a half, and then I can spend the time either playing games online, which I'm very excited for. I found a lot of really, really cool ones, a lot of which I will be talking about this week. But, I mean, I guess it just doesn't bother me that much. But moving on to the things that have significantly changed outside of, obviously, the addition of a story mode. So far, in terms of create mode, in terms of sculpting, I haven't noticed a lot of differences in the actual sculpting and creation of it. And I think that that's intentional because they wanted these final tools not to change much from beta and early access, which were the tools that that Media Molecule was using to create the story mode within Dreams, and they wanted to maintain that legitimacy by not changing it that much. That, and I don't think it requires a whole lot of changes. They did add a fully controller-based control system for Dreams, and it works well. I just do not prefer it at all, and I used it for about a minute before I was like, this is not how this game's meant to be controlled, and I think that is apparent. It works, and I know that there are a lot of people that like it, and there was someone talking to me on the stream that did like it, and in addition to that, there were people on Reddit that were talking about this for months and asking for it, so I know there are some people that are going to appreciate that. Again, I just don't really have a need for it because I think the motion controls work fine. And so moving forward from that, the other big thing that has been changed is all of the new tutorials. And I had to confirm with Stream that I didn't just miss these because they are in a very weird place. But basically, the way that I found them, and perhaps they're available for some other menu, but I basically went into a sculpt mode and hit the pause button and noticed a wonderful new button on the top of the screen where you can watch all of these different video tutorials. And they're not just the video tutorials like we saw them in the early access and in beta, although they look exactly the same. These video tutorials can be watched in the corner of your screen and moved around so they don't get in the way of your creating while you're creating. And so you can follow them just like the tutorials within early access were. So while they look like them, they're also structured very differently. It's not a matter of teaching you how to create and how to move things around, and you start with that sort of tutorial, and then they teach you a lot of concepts and don't really put them into practice. Instead, it's very specific things, and I think they must have gotten this list from basically people asking them on stream how to make this, how to make that. So, like, there's tutorials on how to make a blinking eye, which I know was something someone asked on stream, and so the addition of all of these searchable tutorials, and I call them searchable because these are the types of things people are going to ask how to make. They're not going to ask how to use these 3 technologies that are required to create a blinking eyeball, but these searchable tutorials and the way that they're organized is such a wonderful addition to Dreams, and is going to help out any new creator because it's just such a great way to learn, and I mean learn by doing. Yes, there are tutorials that are still required, and this is the next section, which is the only thing that annoys me that they've changed. I did need to go back through a lot of tutorials. Wasn't that long. It was probably 10 minutes through all of them, in addition to like the 5-minute intro, which also has not changed since early access, by the way. That was the intro we got. But that was slightly bothersome, although I know that for new players, it's even better than it was before. Those types of tutorials are very different than the video tutorials that I just talked about, and different than the video tutorials that were available within Dreams when it first launched. I still hope that those are somewhere around because they are kind of cute with the use of the 2 characters and the voiceovers that are with them, but I do think that that sort of tutorial when you're loading up the game for the first time is the way to do it. It's just following that, like the master classes they talked about, didn't really work well through that sort of tutorial. So it's really nice to see these videos. And although I haven't watched all of them yet, the ones I have watched are very, very specific, but also broad enough for them to be useful to basically everyone. And yeah, I think that's the only huge difference I've noticed. I know the slab of material you start with in create mode is slightly different. There's a visible grid there, although I think that I may have just had the grid on by default, and that may have been a change they added. But also all of my creations are still there, so I am thoroughly happy, and I think that new creators and old creators alike will be happy with how this works. Yeah, I think that's everything. There's just one small addition, and that has to do with the home space. The home space editor has been updated as was promised. It seems to work great, and that's very exciting. But I don't really spend a lot of time editing my own home space, just like I didn't spend a lot of time editing my pod in Little Big Planet. Well, I did sometimes with friends, but it's not that different to the point where I think anybody's going to have trouble getting used to the new version of it. And again, like I said before, this is also something that has been made significantly more user-friendly, and it just makes a lot more sense the way that they've done it. It just feels so much more finished, and I think that that's something you see across the entire game, not just the story mode, although it is quite strange. I should mention that Art's story is available through Dream Surfing, but I guess that's just how they're going to structure this from now on. But it just makes so much more sense. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, there was, so I said there's not really much different about Dream Shaping, but if you do go into the Dream Shaping menu, the UI has changed. The UI is a lot more reminiscent of the UI from Dream Surfing. I don't know if it makes a big difference, and it doesn't really bother me, but it is there, and it's something worth mentioning. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed that has changed in any significant way. I don't think there is, though. But the final thing, and I'm not going to end on a disappointment because I'll talk about my thoughts in general in a second, more than I did at the intro, but the final thing that hasn't changed, unfortunately, is we don't have customization for imp yet. And I know that this was something that was promised and something that they've talked about a lot, and maybe I was just misinterpreting where things have gone since I last heard Media Molecule talk about imp customization. But there was supposed to be the ability to change the look of your imp basically however you want. My assumption was that was going to be through either some sort of dream shaping-esque thing where you can add flex to it yourself and really customize it that way, but my more like level-headed expectation was at least to be able to have different bits and bobs that you can basically dress your imp up with. But as of right now, all we have is the imp carousel. The good news about it is that there are a lot of new imps, and you receive imps for completing different quests just like you did in early access. And so far, the ones I've received from the story mode and from a few different like pin things I've gotten elsewhere are absolutely amazing. They are so much more detailed than the imps we started with. And if you saw the imp that was released in early access, it kind of had like a normal like light blue imp with some eyelashes and pretty eyes, and then instead of like flecks coming off of it like kind of like fur, it was more the symbols for the triangle, square, X, and circle from PlayStation, which is really cool. And so that is like a prime example of what all of the new imps that I've gotten so far have been like. There's like a Cyclops one, and there's so much more diversity within these imps, which is really exciting. I just wish that you could customize them yourself, and as of right now, I can't, and I'm pretty sure that you just can't, because I was talking to people in the stream again, and it just seems like that is not an option that's available yet. And hopefully it will be. Hopefully they haven't kind of given up on that, because that's one of my favorite things to do, and I think that a lot of people really loved and got into Little Big Planet because you could make your own character. And at least with Imp, I hope that that translates into this, and I hope they will add that. But as of right now, like I said before, the imps that are available in the carousel and the ones you can unlock are so interesting and so much more. They're just a huge step up from where they were in early access, and that is very exciting. Now, I know that was supposed to be some final thing to talk about, and I spent like 10 minutes talking about it, but if you do have anything that I missed in this video, because I'm sure there's something, given that it literally just released today, let me know if there's anything you're super excited about, or if there's anything in Dream Shaping that I may have missed. Again, please let me know. I will definitely add anything that has been brought up to me in a pinned comment down below. And yeah, feel free to like the video and subscribe if you want to see more, but no pressure as always. I'm going to be streaming later tonight and a few times this week, so stay tuned if you really want to be here for the streams, because I always interact with the audience and I try my best to play any dreams that people bring up. And so don't feel bad for suggesting your own dreams. It's okay to self-promo on my streams as long as it's through me and your suggesting levels, not just advertising within the comments, because I don't think anybody likes that sort of thing. But yeah, if you are really interested in joining those, please turn on notifications. I don't say that for any other reason, because I get enough notifications every day, so I understand your pain. But if you want to be there for the streams, at least this week, turn them on so that you can know when I'm beginning. And if there are any issues like there were this morning with streams, stay tuned to my Twitter, where I will be posting any updates if for some reason there's some technical issues. But yeah, that's a long outro. I'm very hyped right now, if you can't tell. I'm in a great mood because it's so good. And I'm not a huge fan of story mode because most of my excitement comes from Dream Shaping myself, but I am blown away so far. And so final thoughts, it's great. I want to get through this story mode, and hopefully Art is less of an ass when it gets to later on, but you'll see what I mean when you play it yourself. For now, though, thank you so much for watching this wonderfully long first impressions that aren't really first impressions, because it's only first impressions of part of it, and the other part is things that have changed since I actually had my impressions and review back last year. That was a very long sentence. But yeah, have a wonderful day, guys. I'll see you in a stream later today and or tomorrow in some more videos, but thank you so much for watching. And for now, goodbye! My voice, was not ready to go up there because I just talked so much, and because I spent all this morning talking for like 2 hours. Although I will say, these streams have been a lot quieter because I feel like collectively, me and the chat are just watching all of these gorgeous cutscenes.